Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Silver to see strong rebound in October, says Orchid Research. We do see precious metals recovering a bit. Prices are rallying. And this article goes into the context behind the scenes on why this is happening. So I will share this with you. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's very informational and also educational. So let's dive into it. By the way, the link will be in the description. So the recent sell-off has been mainly driven by a meaningful resilience of the dollar despite the dovish statement from the Fed at its latest FOMC meeting. And as too much strength in the dollar will become ultimately a Fed's problem, we expect the U.S. central bank to turn more dovish, resulting in a lower dollar and a weaker U.S. real rates. And when that happens, people usually turn towards precious metals. Since precious metals have this push-pull mechanism, once the dollar strengthens, precious metals fall, but when the dollar's weakening, precious metals rise as a safe haven investment. And this is what they're talking about happening. So the December COMEX silver prices tumbled to just below $17 an ounce on September 30th, and since then it's managed to recover to $17.61 with the more upside in the cards. Now I think the bears still do have the near-term technical advantage, but I don't know how much longer that's going to stay because it is looking like prices are recovering. Investment demand in silver is looking encouraging as well, especially when compared to gold's speculative positioning. Now, gold is extremely speculative since it is more of a commodity. I just made a video earlier today talking about how they're finding new uses for silver to make it stronger by still keeping the same properties of the highly conductive electricity and thermal conductivity aspects it brings to the table and all this electronics and the technological world we're advancing in. So silver is definitely looking like a very it's a very good thing, especially looking forwards in the future. You know, anytime you want to look at an asset, you want to think about how it's going to be performing in the future. And silver, with these scientists figuring out new uses for it, is definitely going to be a very good position for it. So anyways, there's plenty of dry powder to deploy as alongside of silver, which could result in a marked outperformance of silver prices to the gold in Q4. And I've talked about this a lot as well. Usually, this is what happens. Gold will start to break out first. You know, gold as, the royal metal. People that get into precious metals, they think, okay, gold would be the smarter investment. But then they realize that silver is actually extremely undervalued and gold is actually not as good of a purchase, which not leading you as much potential in the future. But anyways, so they were talking about that in Q4. So given the large room for additional spec buying in silver, both in absolute and relative basis, we believe that silver spot prices could perform well. With growth fears rising in the marketplace, silver stands to benefit due to its safe haven characteristics. And that's definitely true. I mean, not even just economic insecurity, but for the political side of it, but also because it's tangible. You can hold it in your, I always like to say the term, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. And that's so true with precious metals. You get to actually hold the silver in your hands. You don't have to worry about some company behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about a middleman price or anything like that. You are in complete control of your money. And I think that's one of the most beneficial things that investing in precious metals can give you, is because you are in complete control. So, they go on to say, similar to gold, should continue to enjoy positive investment flows in this fragile macro environmental where the global economic growth is slowing down and investors becoming increasingly concerned about potential recession and its negative implications on their portfolios. And I've made a video on this because recession's definitely looming. Recession's incoming, and it's anything, when a recession happens, people don't trust the banks. They don't trust the governments. They want to start taking control and protecting themselves, preparing. And a lot of people actually do come in the world of precious metals from prepping. Just being prepared for the worst, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. And no other investment is nowhere near as safe as precious metals. If you have your money in a savings account, and what happens if the banks collapse? Or what about if your money's pegged to the stock markets, but the dollar's crashing, then the stocks would crash too. It just really wouldn't make sense, especially if you are aware of the reality of the situation our economy is in, silver is definitely the smartest, safest investment with the most potential as well, because not only that, your coins will appreciate and your coins have intrinsic value inside of them. So if anyone's investing in the precious metals, you're clearly on the right track and you clearly see the bigger picture. The people that say, oh, it's a bad investment, they're missing the entire point. It's not about the dollar aspect of it. It's about the aftermath. What happens after the dollars in here? Because look at third world countries, their dollars is collapsing. They have to use cryptocurrency and other methods like carrying their money in trash bags and weighing their money on counters because their dollar has been so deflated. You know, and this is not going to change. Fiat currency is never going to work. There's no system that's ever worked with a dollar-based system like this, because we're trying to pump out debt and replace it with debt, and by getting people into debt by using credit cards, college, you know, the college scam, getting as many people to get accepted for credit cards and overspend money they don't have, the government overspending money that they don't have, and that's just how it is. But gold and silver is complete value right there, so you can't go negative going, you know, stacking gold and silver, because you have the money yourself. You're not telling someone else, oh, I will give you this money. You have the money itself. And why do you think central banks own so much gold and silver? Why do you think that is? No, it's not a coincidence. But I thought this was a pretty good article, just because in October you have to think about all the things that happened. Like let's refer back to when silver spiked, when it was $19.50 a couple months ago. What was going on? I mean, stock market volatility, U.S.-China trade wars, you know, all that type of stuff. Those were the two main factors back then. Now we have plenty of more things that's happened since then. U.S.-China trade wars started renegotiating, which actually hurt silver prices because it kind of eased up the economy. But now the U.S.-China trade wars are back at it with no negotiating at all. They're not coming. There's no fixing in the making. It's getting worse. Stock market volatility is always going to be extremely volatile, so a lot of people will get sick and tired of that or want to find something that's more profitable, especially if gold and silver start, you know, coming into the spotlight, which hopefully they should, or they do, because look at it. I mean, there's nothing else that's going to, especially as the economy gets worse, people are going to be looking for other alternatives, other answers, other solutions, because they're going to get sick and tired of it later, hopefully sooner than later. And that's why I try to also inform people on this stuff, inform people that October could be a huge month for silver. I mean, I made a video talking about $25 silver by Thanksgiving, and I gave a whole bunch of details if you guys want to check that out. A whole bunch of inside details on why, the what's, whys, and hows. The Federal Reserve cutting interest rates is going to play huge things. Trump's impeachment coming into the world. Hong Kong protests are intensifying. Actually, people are actually getting shot now. That's not dying down at all. The Iran tensions, the oil fields, Saudi Arabia, and the attacking the oil fields. You know, that whole thing, and it's going to be taking months instead of weeks as they thought to reinstall all of this stuff. So oil's going to be in a weird state. There's a lot of different things that are just at play right now that people aren't really incorporating or considering that could be highly influence silver's price. And even in the article where it was talking about you know, gold being more speculative, I think silver well, precious metals in general aren't as speculative as cryptocurrency or stocks, because there's real foundational value there. So at least you have that. You know, when it's stocks or something, I mean, we did see Bitcoin highly speculative from JP Morgan calling it a scam, and it shot the price down $5,000 in a couple days. But gold and silver, it doesn't have the same pull as that, because industries need it. People don't need Bitcoin to run a business or to produce something. It's on the blockchain. It's more of a digital currency. But gold and silver is an actual asset that people use. And I hate that people say silver's more of a commodity and gold's more of an asset. I think it's flip-flopped. I think silver's more of an asset and gold's more of a commodity. Silver is highly needed in all of our stuff. I mean, gold is too, but if you really look at it, most people use jewelry for gold. You know, they're gold necklaces, gold watches, gold rings, whatever the case is. Silver is more of a technological advantage and a beneficial advantage to these corporations, these big businesses, the ones that are actually using it, you know, for its fundamental value that brings it such, you know, such a high quality of life for even us watching this video on your cell phone or laptop. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I'm curious where you guys think silver is going to be headed in October. I think it's definitely going to be on the plus side. I definitely think this is some of the last times we're going to be able to find silver for this cheap for a while before, you know, a correction happens again. But I'm curious what you guys think and also why. I'd love to hear your insight, your input, and I'd love to just hear what you guys have to say about it. So anyways, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new because I do post daily videos. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys soon. Peace.